Welcome back. This is chapter 6, Expert Detectives, and now I'm going to explain passage number 5 to you. So here we go. He doesn't care what he eats, pays his bill immediately, and tips well. So upon her list, on her list of facts, she mentioned 8 points and 9 points. She was continuing with 9 points, and there she added that he was not particular about what he ate. He was paying least attention to what was offered to him for food. He paid the bill immediately. That is, he never kept a due, and then at the same time he tipped well. Oh, that ends my list. Have I forgotten anything, 7? And then she said that, well, with this my list got over, or say the points got over. Now if you have any points, then you may suggest them, and then those points could be added. Nisad had obviously not been paying too much attention to my list of facts, and Nisad was not paying attention to her list of facts. All he could say was poor man. So from Nisad's appearance, from his behavior, it was clear that he was not following Maya, or that he was not paying attention to what she was saying, what point she was making. He was not paying attention, and all he said at the end of the points, that he was a poor man. He must be so lonely if he doesn't have any friend. And he said that, well, he must be very lonely if he had no friends. That is, his focus was his loneliness. The point that caught his attention was his having no friends, and that occupied his whole attention, his whole mind. How can a crook have friends, idiot? I almost shouted. Maya shouted at him, saying, how can a crook, how can a criminal have friends? She shouted, almost shouted. At least he has one friend, the one who meets him on Sundays, said Nisad. Nisad pointed here that at least he had a friend, the one who came to him every Sunday. A brilliant thought occurred to me just then, and then only a brilliant thought, a brilliant idea came to her. That man must be Mr. Knott's accomplice in crime, I said, and she said that, well, that man must be Mr. Knott's accomplice, his assistant, his helper in crime, his aid in crime. Maybe he keeps all the loot and he comes now and then to give part of it to his partner, Mr. Knott, for expenses. And she added there that maybe that he kept all the money of the loot, and he came to Mr. Knott's place every now and then. He came there quite often, and by coming here, I'll say the purpose of his visiting him was to pay him the part of that loot, so that he could meet his expenses, so that he could buy his food and meet other expenses, medical expenses and all. That's it. I'm sure I'm right. And she said, Maya said, I'm sure I'm right. If you insist on calling him a criminal, I don't think I want to discuss anything with you, Maya, said Nisad angrily. Okay, so Nisad protested here and said, well, if you keep on pointing him, mentioning him a criminal, then there is hardly any chance, or there is no chance that I may discuss points with you. That is, you have to drop this word criminal for him, and if you didn't drop it, then I cannot work with you, said Nisad in that way. He can't be such a bad man if he gives Ramesh such generous tips. And his point here is that he cannot be a bad man. Yes, if he really was a bad man, then he would not give Ramesh tips, generous tips. Ramesh probably knows something about his past, so Mr. Nath must be bribing him to keep quiet, I said. So Maya countered his point and said that, well, it's possible. Possibly Ramesh knew some secret of Mr. Nath, and Mr. Nath probably was paying him to keep his mouth shut. Nisad glared at me with his arms tightly crossed across his chest. Nisad angrily looked at Maya with his arms tightly crossed across the chest. I was beginning to get fed up with him, and Maya was getting fed up. She was getting sick with her brother Nisad, because he was not ready to believe, he was not ready to accept him to be a criminal. How can we make any progress with our investigations if you take that attitude, Seven? I asked. Maya asked there. Then that she said that, well, we cannot make any progress. That their progress their progress into the matter could not head to a proper direction if Nisad continued to maintain that attitude. I'll cooperate only if you give up this idea about him being an escaped crook, said Seven. You really made me angry. Nisad firmly made his point, said you have to drop this idea that he is a criminal, he is a crook on the run. Only then he could work, he said. You really make me angry, because you make me angry, he said. Your words made me angry, and if this went on, then it wouldn't be possible for me to work with you. So this is all for now. Thank you.